It's the Black Aaron broadcast. It's the Black Aaron podcast. It's the Black Aaron broadcast. Alright. So, I think we're just gonna go for that. Alright. Shit. And that's, you know what?
Use that thing for
anything. Alright, so I got questions here. So I asked everybody, like, questions to ask you guys. And I'm going to pull some up on my thing. But I'll ask, you know what? We're just going to go ahead and kick it off, okay?
Word.
Alright. 3, 2, 1. Hey, Black Aaron Broadcast, episode 21. I have a wonderful guest here. I'm going to go ahead and give you a bit of an introduction.
Cool.
All right. Good. So this right here is a Grammy Award-winning musical engineer. Emmy Award. Sorry, Emmy Award-winning.
Two different things, right?
Yeah.
I don't want to take credit for something I didn't do.
It sounds like you're already ready to take all the credit right now. Engineer. He's also you are the personal engineer, I believe, of Herbie Hancock.
Yeah, I've been working
sound.
For about 15 years in the studio with him, yeah.
Yeah, and he's also, he's my professor at school, and he's just a cool guy. And I wanted to go ahead and do an interview with him. So this is Mr. Cesar Mejia.
That's right. Oh, yeah. Woo!
We got Cesar Mejia right here. And so, you know, I just wanted to, and we're actually at Shelter Studios. This is his personal studios. You can see the board back here. He's got an ISO room over there, and actually, because we have the laptop, I can just like kind of like, woo, we got the isolation booth there, see some stuff. We got that is his I think it's your kitchen, and then
the kitchenette, yeah,
bathroom / machine room. You showed me.
Yeah.
You got like all the gear in there, which is awesome. Yeah, one of a kind.
You can turn on your computer while you're taking a dump.
And also, what's cool is Cesar told me that this is the house he actually he grew up in. So he's, you know, he is eventually you and your brothers.
Yeah, well, my mom lived here up until a couple years ago when she passed away. But,
okay.
But the studio's been here since like 1999.
Really?
Yeah, it's coming up on 20 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I started the studio back when I graduated from college back in '99.
Damn.
So yeah. That's 1999.
Yeah, 1999 he graduated from college. I was still in high school, so that was like, I graduated in 2001, so I was like a sophomore.
What were you listening to?
Something? Oh, I was listening to the guy that's actually on his wall. I was listening to Rage Against the Machine. Zach.
Yeah.
You had a picture with Black Eyed Peas. They weren't out yet. I started listening to them when I was in the military.
Oh yeah, they had been out, but they weren't that big yet, I guess. They weren't as big as they are now.
Yeah, and you had another picture on there. Who was that on the wall?
With Brian Eno.
Brian
Eno is one of the guys who co-produced that classic U2 album, The Joshua Tree.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
So I've got questions. I've got questions that I have. I have questions from some of the students.
Oh, okay, cool.
And Chara, one of our famous Sri Lankan prince, music producer from Sri Lanka, he sent some questions.
He's the man.
He's apparently a pretty big deal over there.
Dude, he's the man.
And he goes to talks.
And he passed Waldrop's test.
Yeah, of course he did. He was a little confused at first, like we all were. Like,
you know what it is? That test is all about confidence.
Yeah, and it is all about confidence. But I do want to, because I want to get into a lot of stuff, but I do want to kick it off with some of the questions I got. So I'll start with Chara's question. He had two.
Okay.
So the first one that he had, and we were talking at breakfast, he said, what defines success in the audio field?
Whoa.
Yeah, what defines success?
Well, I mean, that could be anything, right? It could be what's successful to you.
I mean, like, subjective. Yeah,
it is subjective. I mean, I guess to me, really to me, success is a balance between, like, because I have a family, and I'm really passionate about my family, but I'm really passionate about my work as well. So to me, that blend of the two, to be able to do both, is success. I mean, it could be anything. I mean, like, it depends. I mean, to some people, they won't. I don't believe they'll feel successful until they're working with the Pharrell types, you know.
Ooh, Pharrell.
But I mean, it just depends. That's such a hard question to answer. You know, I mean, it's not an easy one to say. I would say if you can make a living at it, I think you're pretty successful. It doesn't mean you have to have an extravagant, like a super extravagant life out of it. But if you can make a living, pay your bills, and have a roof over your head, and
you've done pretty well. Because some people can't even do that with regular jobs.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you can do that with something that you love,
that to me that's successful. Like,
yeah,
there's different levels of it. I mean, there's just different levels of it. I mean, you could be the Chris O'Reillys if you wanted to, or you could be, the Brian Enos or the Pharrells and all that, and that's extremely successful, right? But I mean, like, if you can make a living in this field, I think you're pretty successful at that, because it's hard. And like you said, even people who work at Costco can't make a living.
Yeah, yeah. I don't know. I thought Costco people were making.
Actually, they probably can, right? I don't know.
I don't know.
I just thought of Costco because I went there the other day, so it's the first thing that came to my head.
Yeah.
Okay, people who work at the Dollar Tree can't make a living.
I don't know what they're paying people at the Dollar Tree. They're obviously making They're making an honest living,
right.
But I mean, honest living in capitalist economy. I don't know.
It's kind of hard, right? Yeah.
I don't know.
So that to me, I think if you can make a living out of it, pay your bills, have a roof over your head, put money in your stomach. I mean, or put food in your stomach. Then I think you're pretty good.
Okay, that's a good answer. Let's see. Is it to be part of a team that makes platinum selling loud pop masters, or is it to do whatever makes you happy as an engineer producer with minimum expectations in life?
What's the question again?
So let me break it down. Oh, that was part of the same question.
Okay.
So you're saying what your definition of success is if you can make a living doing what you love is as an audio engineer.
Right, an audio professional, yeah.
Yeah, and I guess he was saying he thought it was like to sell platinum records.
I mean, I guess. I mean, that if that's your definition of success.
I think because we were talking and he was like, me and him will talk and we'll kind of go into it. And he was like, what is success? Like, because he's got an accent. I'm doing a bad Sherlock accent. But he's like, what is success?
I have an accent too.
Yeah.
East Los accent.
East Los accent. And he's like, he's like, Little Pump, is he successful? What makes him successful? And we had a long conversation. I tried to explain to him that unfortunately, it's not about music anymore. It's about relevancy and like grabbing people's attention.
I mean, like, I'm gonna say something that Herbie once told me. I don't know why. I don't know where what conversation we're having, or where in the conversation we were at. Mm-hmm. But one thing that I remember him saying, he goes, "It's about longevity."
Okay.
And what is Little Pump gonna tell Herbie Hancock? He's 78 years old, and he's been successful since. I mean, he's one of the all-time greatest jazz musicians of all time.
Yes,
right. We can all agree on that. That he's up there with Miles Davis and all those big jazz artists. Mm-hmm. Right, he's up there with them, and he's been doing it since he was. I mean, his first big record was, I think, the first record that he did with Miles Davis. He was 23 years old.
Lord have mercy. And
he's 78. So Little Pump can't say that. Yeah. Pharrell can't say that.
Yeah.
And those guys Pharrell's pretty successful. I mean, Pharrell has a track record that you could say, you know what, he's probably going to be around for the next 30 years. 20, 30 years.
There's no reason for him to go away.
Yeah. Terrence Martin's another guy. Terrence Martin, to me, I mean, because I've worked with this guy pretty closely, is that he might take on the shoes of Quincy Jones at one point. That's his route. That's what I see.
Quincy Jones is acting. I watched that special, Quincy, on Netflix.
Yeah, it's great.
I was like, he worked with the mentor of Igor Stravinsky. Like,
right.
I need to go to France, work on my string composition. He went there, did that. Plus the whole developing the team getting the team together that did like Thriller and really the adult Michael Jackson career. He created that.
Yeah. But he was already
holy shit.
He's already a successful producer even before that.
Yeah, he was successful.
It wasn't like it's like. People. I think sometimes people think when they think of Quincy Jones, they think of Michael Jackson because that's one of the big things that he did. But again, it's one of the big things.
I feel like he scored entire decades of like I mean, that was him.
When I was looking at that documentary, I was like, wait a minute. I didn't know he did that. I didn't know he did that. Oh man, that's him too.
You feel like you know a lot about somebody, and then you get this whole body of work, and you're like, holy crap.
I mean, I guess going back to the question is like. you know, I guess it just depends. If it's making platinum records, your idea of success, and then, you know, do that. But the thing, what defines a platinum record? You know, like, you can't. It's like, it's most people that have a huge hit.
Yeah.
They never see it coming ever.
Dude, yeah, because I've seen one-hit wonders or talk about, like,
Yeah.
and they're like, I still hate that record, but they're getting paid the rest of their life.
Yeah.
That record
Yeah.
determined their whole
Yeah,
way
exactly.
of
So I mean,
making
like,
a living for themselves.
But I think a lot of them, you know, like, and it just happens. I just did a record with this one band, and the one song that they thought was gonna be like
trash,
like the hit single.
Oh, they thought that was gonna be
like that's gonna be the hit. They were actually with some of the other songs that everybody's listening to, and although they like all the record, we're noticing, like, oh wow, that's, and they hit me up and say, oh man, they were laughing. They're like, remember we thought that was gonna be the one. I'm like, wow, whatever. People like your record. It's cool. You know,
it's interesting because, you know, music producers are probably like, you know, they want to be successful too, and then they're like telling the band, like, yeah, okay guys, this is gonna be it. We got the sound, we got everything. They gotta be like that, but then it's like trash. There's like a gem in there,
right,
and all the other stuff, and then that one takes off, and they didn't even invest as much in that one. Maybe in the campaign, the marketing campaign, and then that's a hit, and they're like, fuck it.
Exactly. It works. I mean, so I don't know if that answers the question or not.
Yeah, I don't know. It's I mean, it's different for everybody. I want to, and before I go to the other questions from other students, I have a few questions.
All right.
So, a few of my questions are, and I kind of want to break it up because I want to know a little bit about your childhood and growing up in East Los Angeles and what influenced your taste in music. Because I remember one time we had a panel of some audio engineers, and you mentioned, like, you were into this music, but then you kind of got drawn to stuff like, I don't know if it was New Order or Cure, but you couldn't tell your friends really, or like they might look at you funny about stuff.
It was dance music.
But you're like, damn, this is good.
Yeah, it was dance music.
And the people back then, like, a lot of people kind of looked the same, like, you know.
That was real clicky.
Back then, it was like super, super clicky.
Yeah.
They were goth or weird. And
yeah, they're either like new wave, the new waves on the
new
goth.
wave shit looks sick.
Yeah, it was cool.
I mean, that shit look, even go looking back now, that shit looks cool as hell.
Yeah.
And but what music what are your earliest childhood memories, and where did that lead you, I guess?
If you step out of the studio, it leads into a little patio area, and there's a stairway that leads into the house, into the main house. Mm-hmm. And my earliest, like, memories of music is my uncle's, my mom's younger brothers sitting there with my older cousins playing guitar, like in Spanish. You know, they were singing songs in Spanish, and those are my earliest, like, memories of music, like them playing. And I don't really remember. I kind of remember the song, but it was more the feeling that I remember of it, like how it
made you feel.
How it made me feel, like, it just made me feel good, you know.
Dude, you remember how, like, people make you feel, and like how like music.
Yeah.
You can, like, pick certain points of life and be like, damn, that song. I was going through this, and I listened to this song, and I was just like, oh, that song made me feel.
Yeah, that's why
good.
music is, like, it's really dynamic. I mean, it's, you know, people, it's like cliches that people say, oh, you know, music is a soundtrack to your life, whatever that is.
It is.
Everybody has a different soundtrack, you know. But those are my earliest memories of music. Is having my uncles and my older cousins playing music there, and I just and I remember that, and I could still, like, picture that moment of me, like, being there and just watching them that you know this close, you know, 3 feet away, and going, wow,
that's cool.
That's just, like, I was, like, totally, like, it's like when you look at something that's really beautiful, you just kind of, like, you want to just look at
like
it.
Enchanted.
Yeah, exactly.
Like mesmerized.
You're mesmerized. You're like, oh wow, that just sounds so cool. And I think from then on, it was just like, you know, there was always music around the house with my mom. She always had music on, and she always encouraged us. At least my brothers played a little bit too, but I don't know if she encouraged them as much as she did me. I'm not sure. Yeah, you know, because they didn't follow that. They went to.
When did you know that was it for you? Like, okay, I'm gonna dedicate the rest of my life to music. When did it flip over? It was like, this is a fucking joke. Like, okay.
It might have been sometime in high school, but I don't know if it was that aha moment, you know?
It was like a nudge. Like,
it was like, yeah, you know, because I remember we had to do there was this guy named Alex, right? And it's funny because he's one of the guys that kind of changed the way I think about music. And he was this Mexican kid, but he lived in South Central. So he grew up in those times, like, hip hop wasn't really big on this side of town because it was still like really cliche-ish type thing. And if it was, like the crowds that I was hanging around with weren't listening to that yet.
Yeah.
So him and I had to do a project for, I forgot what class we were in high school. We had to go to this thing called the Career Center. And we went, and they had this huge kind of like encyclopedia, like a giant Bible, this big, huge book that's, bigger than your laptop type thing, one of these big, huge books. And we opened it, and he went all the way to the S. Okay. And then he went down to sound engineer, and they're like, "Oh, what's that?
What the fuck is the sound?"
Yeah, and I go, "What is that?" And I was already playing music at that time, because I was playing in bands a little bit,
Yeah.
And he's all like, "You ever been to a concert?" I'm like, "Yeah, that guy in the middle of the crowd that's got that big giant board." I'm like, "Yeah, that's a sound engineer."
Yeah.
And he went, and the only reason he wanted to be a sound engineer is because when you went to the dress code, it said none. And he's like, and I was like, we had long hair back then and torn jeans and a Misfit shirt on.
Dress for the career.
Yeah, and I was like, "Whoa, that's kind of cool." And I think that was the first time I had kind of heard of it. And then soon after that, a guy who was already really good friends with me, we became really tight with after that. Is his older brother had a 4-track, and he came over to a rehearsal space, and I think that was more the time I was like, "Wow, that's so cool." Yeah. But I didn't know that you could kind of have a career in that, even though I had heard about the sound engineer thing. Yeah. Like, it didn't click. And it wasn't until, like, I thought, "Oh, well, I'm going to be a guitar roadie, a guitar tech, and I'll fix their sound." And that was kind of the moment where I said, "This is what I want to do. I want to be involved in music technology somehow."
Music and technology.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't see it that way. Yeah. But I mean, that's when I remember, like, going, "This is what I want to do."
It kind of like sharpened the path that you wanted to kind of walk down towards. Yeah. Let's see. When did you know, I guess, like, because there were a lot of questions. God, I do kind of want to.
Yeah, I do. I mean, I got time, so.
Let's see. Let's get some of those. I posted that.
There's a water if you want one.
Yeah, sure. Thank you. Alright, so here we go. Great idea. Let me think one. How do you feel about people that cup the mic? What is that? That's Jose Melendez.
It doesn't bother me. I mean, as long as if they need to cup the mic to make it sound cool. But I know in live situation it sucks because it feeds back a lot.
Okay.
So, I mean, I don't really do live sound, so it doesn't bother me.
Don't cup the fucking mic if it's live sound. If it's in the studio, we don't give a shit.
Right.
What has kept you going in the industry? Also from Jose Melendez.
Oh, man, I'm stubborn, and
you don't let the man get you down?
Yeah, you know what it is my mom always would always tell me, when you fall, you get up and you dust yourself off and you keep going.
Yeah.
And I think that, I don't know if you want to call that persistence or what, but I mean, I just don't know what I mean. Like, if I were to stop now, I have no idea what I would do with my life. Like, this is part of who I am. Like, it's not like
it's part of your identity.
It's like it's who I am. I mean, I'm human first.
Yeah.
And maybe I'm a father second, and then the rest is this.
Audio.
Yeah. It's just part of who I am. It's just I can't like. So I don't know. I would say just don't ever give up. Like I always tell people, the longer you're in it, the more you're gonna be "quote unquote" successful at what you want to do.
Yeah,
you might quit. You might quit right before the door opens.
Yeah. Like they show that thing, guys digging to the diamond, and then he stops like right in this that much dirt. He's like, fuck this shit. Because you don't know.
Yeah, you don't know. You
have no idea when it's gonna hit.
Yeah. So I would just say keep doing that. I don't know. I'm stubborn, and I don't know when to quit.
All right. Let's see. He also says, is there anyone in particular that you really want to work with?
Oh man,
because I'm gonna ask you that too. Like, who have you worked with? But since he said, is there anyone you haven't worked with, like 20 years in the game, or at least 20 years in the studio?
I don't know who would it be. Maybe just James Hetfield of Metallica, but I would never really want to work with him.
James Hetfield? Which guy?
That's a singer, guitar player. Maybe him.
Master Puppets.
Yeah, and then a bunch of stuff here. I was a huge fan of them growing up. It's like a book of how they made this record, which is actually pretty cool because it's got a bunch of like.
Let's get the front of that real quick.
It's a good book if you're a Metallica fan. But the best part about it, it's got like track sheets in it, like of somewhere in there. Let me see if I can find them real quick. Like if you look into it.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah, so this is when I grew up with them. So I grew up with them in this kind of era where they
You
were...
grew up listening to these guys?
Yeah, so they were, I mean, you know, I can't even find them, but there's all kinds of stuff in here where it's like kind of like a little historical thing of their stuff, you know?
And you got masters of, what is that?
This is just, I think it was like a box set of this stuff.
Front of that too?
Yeah. See, I'm a big Metallica fan, as you can tell.
Cesar is a big
I mean,
fan.
you know what it is that lately in the last, oh look, here they are. So here there's track sheets of how they, you know.
Oh, wow.
Of the old track sheets of how they did the record and all kinds of notes on there. And that's actually more what I'm curious about, because when I listen to those records,
yeah,
to me they sound fantastic, you know, and it's like, but it's more like I think because it takes me back to a feeling of how I felt.
You got to go back to the music that made you feel good.
Yeah,
I see. That's your era of music, and I didn't get to the 80s, 90s Metallica until like I got older. The 90s Metallica they were already doing like they did like some Sandman or Diesel something.
Yeah, I stopped listening to them right around that.
Yeah,
actually.
You stopped listening to him. I started listening.
Yeah, I stopped listening to him right when the Black Album. The Black Album was a cool record, but you couldn't think of them as Metallica. You got that like, oh, that's a great sounding record from whoever this band is.
Yeah,
that's the way I looked at it, you know. And then after that, I was like, I can't handle the rest. This is just way too off.
That's funny.
Off center at this point.
Because I'll go back to like a lot of 90s bands, like the grunge or rock and stuff like that.
You just gave me. You know who else I would like to work with?
Who?
Portugal The Man.
Portugal The Man.
That band is so cool.
I download. There's another person I downloaded, and I don't think I've listened to them yet.
I think it's just the way they create music. Not all their songs are great, but I think their vibe is really cool. Like I like bands like that, that are like don't really sound like anybody else, or
that's
they do.
Good. It's hard to come by these days. Everybody sounds like some pop band, like I don't know, One Republic. Or, what's that purple? The guy Adam Levine.
I just did this record right here, right? And this band,
who's that?
They're called Tropa Mágica. They used to be called the Commons before.
The Commons?
Yeah.
That sounds almost
and that band reminds me of like bands like that. They just sound don't sound like anybody, or they have the influence that they have are really kind of like making them sound like they're different, you know. So I mean, I actually went and just searched them out. Like I actually saw them on social media, and
like,
I wrote to them. I was like, hey, and I just kind of befriended them, and then you know, it just somehow I think I just go, hey man, if you guys are interested, like I'd love to work with you. Let's try a song out, and they're like, yeah. And then they came in and they're like, hey, well, we're going to do a record with you. All right, cool.
That's cool. You know? That might be a good idea for some of you, some of you young audio engineers.
I always tell people, man, just like,
contact them.
I mean, if you're following them online, what's the worst that's to happen? They don't write back to you?
Yeah, seriously.
Like, you can't be afraid of rejection. It's going to happen all the time. And even when you work with bands, like, I might just do that one record with them. They say they want to do more, which would be great.
Yeah.
But if they went and did something else, that would still be fine because I got to work with them. And I would still be friends with them, because one thing I like about making records, especially when you work on with a band for a while, is that you tend to become friends with these guys.
Yeah.
So like that's kind of the positive outcome of doing this job,
So that's definitely that's definitely a perk.
Yep.
I mean, like so those are people you want to work with. I guess who have you worked with? If we're gonna name drop out here.
Oh, fuck.
Just to get so people can get an idea, because I have people I got friends back from Jersey that kind of watch. I got people here in California. I look at my downloads for my podcast. There's people in Japan.
That's cool.
And some other little places. There's not I don't have a ton of downloads, but there's people downloading in other countries. Apparently.
Yeah.
So
well, Herbie Hancock, I've been working with him for a long time. So I work with him.
Herbie does some jazz stuff, which is cool.
Kamasi Washington,
jazz,
Terrace Martin, Pharrell, Brian Eno, Zach De La Rocha.
Rage,
we did some stuff one time with Sting, with Herbie and Sting.
Oh, cool.
Wayne Shorter.
Who's Wayne Shorter?
He's a saxophone player. He used to play. So Herbie, Wayne Shorter, and Ron Carter all used to play in a band with Miles Davis. That's like the band that Miles Davis considered to be like his all-time favorite band from all the bands he had. So I'm trying to think. Early on, I got to when I was first not interning, but assisting. I got to work with Motorhead.
Yeah.
So I got to play Lemmy's bass at one point without him knowing, but that was cool.
I have Motorhead on my computer.
Motorhead. I remember that day because they were coming in to the studio where I was working at.
Yeah.
And which happened to be right next to Sound City, by the way.
Yeah.
That classic, that Dave Grohl movie, right?
Yeah, I watched that.
So I was in the studio right next door, so they were coming in to like record there, and they had like a rehearsal room there.
Yeah.
So the producer wanted to hear the song with bass, but Lemmy wasn't around. So the guitar tech came in and asked for the main engineer of that studio I was at to see if he could play bass, but he was in a session. And the guy tells me, "Hey, do you play bass?" I go, "Oh, a little." Yeah. He's like, "Well, come over here." I was like, "Okay." So I went over there, and I thought maybe they just want me to like just play so he could fix the sound or something. Mm-hmm. And then next, you know, the drummer's there and the guitar player's there, and they're like, "All right, here's a song, learn it." So they're just showing me the parts, and I'm like, "Okay." So I was playing with the guys from Motorhead.
Whoa.
And then Lemmy's girlfriend was setting up like this altar like section of the room, and she was just looking at me like, "Oh my god, if Lemmy walks in right now, you're dead."
Oh, playing his fucking shit. Yeah. Dude. And a lot of people love Lemmy.
Yeah, he's a man, dude, or he was a man, but I remember playing and the drummer and the guitar, "Hey man, why don't you stay? Let's jam some more." And I was like, "I'm good, man, I gotta go."
He'll get seriously pissed. Even though you guys were having fun and doing your thing, he would get like,
oh yeah, because I've known that about him, and I know when we were in the studio that he would freak out, and my friend Cameron Webb, who came to the panel last year, he worked with him for a long time. He told me the stories too, about him flipping out, but that's just the way some artists are,
Fuck it. Dude, that's
so I can't think of that's the ones that come off the top of my head. I don't know.
That's okay. We don't have to. I mean, there's a lot of motherfuckers that have contributed significantly.
Yeah,
to
I'm and those are all great. I think those are all great. But I'm just as excited about like the bands that I'm working with now, like this Tropa Mágica, and then I just this thing for this artist named Ray who her name is Caitlin Hawley. Okay. She's an actually ex-graduate of the program, and Mike and Luz produced a track for her. Oh yeah. And I just mixed it, and man, it's fucking awesome, So I'm just as excited about that stuff, So,
yeah, that helps too. The excitement and the passion you have for the game. Yeah, so of making music.
Yeah, it's cool. I dig it. To me, it's all the same whether it's Herbie or Pharrell or or any other band. It doesn't matter to me. That to me it's just,
you don't get more or less motivated.
Yeah, no, hell no.
Based on the artist. Let's see. Who had the most impact on your career, and what was the worst? Yeah, who had the most impact on your career? What was the most enjoyable career experience? What was the worst? And this is from Austin Mosher.
Okay, I don't know who that is, but
he's
hi, Austin.
Probably a newer student.
Austin, in the house.
Austin, he did one of those. You gotta do it in the camera. So
what up?
What up, Austin? So, greatest impact, worst
greatest impact, like as far as like career wise, or
I guess.
I would say the guy that probably made a difference. Well, look, there's a few people who made a difference, like
anybody
in my musical career. What, two of them? Yeah. One of them was my middle school music teacher.
Oh,
right.
He made elementary.
Yeah, he made, and I was in 7th or 8th grade when I was there. Yeah, and then. He's one of those guys that always encouraged us to play, and always and never made it a negative thing, when we mess up. He'd get mad at us, get me wrong, but there was a lot of positive moments,
Positive.
And then another one would have to be David Bradfield. Okay. And David Bradfield was just recently, a couple years ago, retired from the Mingus. So he was my mentor, kind of, even though there was never that, "Oh, are you my mentor?" It was just kind of like a thing that
guy you learned from.
Yeah, a guy I learned from, and he was helpful, and he helped me all of that, and then after that, the guy who really hooked me up in the industry would have to be this guy named Dave Hampton.
Who's that?
Dave Hampton is a guy who originally worked at Herbie's when I first started working there, and then soon after that, he left and he ended up working for Prince for 10, 12 years, and he had already been. Yeah, so he moved, and this is a guy who's pretty well known in the industry. He's an engineer, but he's more like a multi-function engineer where he'll build rooms for you or
super custom.
Yeah, kind of one of these. His big thing is building studios for people, custom studios.
He'll customize your studio.
He's actually the one when I first started to remodel this place, is probably about 10 years ago. Yeah, is I came in and he came in and I was like, man, because originally the plan was to redo the floors and change the position of the patch bay, and he's the one that came in and said, dude, you should reshift it this way and build a machine room over there and do this. And he's the one that gave me those ideas.
Yeah.
You know, and those are the three guys that I could say, other than my family, you know, and you know, like my wife and my kids that have kind of inspired me or had merely gave me like a big break that way, you know.
Yeah.
I would say those three guys, you know, my middle school music teacher, Mr. Martinez, and then
damn, you giving them way back shout
yeah,
outs.
and then David Bradfield and Dave Hampton. I would have to
Cool.
say those three guys have, you know, made a big difference, you know.
So those are the biggest people had the biggest impact on your life and career.
Yeah, what was the second part of that question?
And now the most enjoyable experience and kind of worst experience career wise.
Okay, so let me see. Oh man, there's too many to name of the positive ones. I mean, I just had one last week, you know.
Yeah,
I mean, like, to me, it's always about. I mean, because to me, being in the studio, just that alone is
like,
cool.
Yes.
You know, even when I'm in class with you guys, yelling at you guys, that's still cool. You know, like, I still love that part of it. Like,
yeah.
And it's not the yelling part that I love, it's the being in the studio, you know?
Yeah.
But I think I would say the only thing that comes to mind, there's two worst experiences, and one of them was probably the first time I did a hip-hop session.
Yeah.
Right? And I was a student still, and it was just because, and a lot of it had to do with me not being able to, like, take control of the session, you know, so it was kind of getting like chaotic, and the limitations that we had, and, you know, I had to record like 16 rappers on an 8-track machine with 2 tracks being taken up by the music, and the other 6 were just for vocals.
Yeah.
So there was a line, and there was actual tape machine, so you had to stack vocals within the same track in order to make everybody fit. It wasn't on a Pro Tools rig where it's, open up another track and open up another track or whatever, you know, you can, so that was probably because it was really stressful. And actually, another one comes to mind. I just told this story the other day. And I was also a student. A friend of mine, they played in these kind of like Mexican regional bands. You know, it was like a banda, right? And they play like the kind of, I guess, it's not really tumpa music, but it's similar to that. You know, if you're ever in a Mexican neighborhood on a Saturday morning, you're gonna hear that music, right? Like everybody's blasting.
Oh, Alvi mentioned that Banda.
Yeah,
she mentioned her mom always in the morning. Or
yeah,
something.
Yeah, that's typical. Yeah, like you know. So he played in one of those bands, and I went on tour with him for a weekend.
Okay.
On the first stop was in somewhere. I forgot the name of the place, but it's like an hour north of Sacramento. And we went up to the sound guy, and my friend goes, "Hey, this is my friend Cesar. He's going to school for sound."
Yeah.
And the guy's, "Oh, cool, man. After this band, when I'm done, you can take over." He's like, "Cause my band plays up next."
And you're like, "What?"
And I was like, and it was this big giant hangar, it was like a barn.
Yeah.
But in Yuba City, that's where it was at.
Where the fuck is Yuba City?
An hour north of Sacramento, right? So
okay.
So we went there, and there was like 4,000 or 5,000 people, man. And I remember.
Whoa.
So I did the sound.
You're doing live sound for 4K.
And I'm doing sound. Everything's going cool. And then, you know, they finish. My friend's band goes up, and they have one more player than the previous band. Yeah. So one of the horn players goes into the drum kit, gets a microphone from the drum kit, puts it on a stand, and then he's far away. He's got to be like, I don't know, 500 feet away. This thing is huge, you know. And he's all like. And I could see this little guy, you know, about a few inches tall from my perspective where he was at. Yeah. That's how far he was. And I could see him telling me, like, "Hey, I can't hear myself in the monitor." And he's signaling me with hand signs, like, you know? I can't hear it. So, and I'm like, I don't know. And the roadies from that guy, they just start moving all the knobs, like they're moving all the auxes. I'm like, "Hey, man, don't touch anything." Yeah. I don't know what you guys are doing. I don't know what's what. And then the band starts playing, and 10 seconds into it, you just hear, like a low rumble feedback. And the whole place just starts feeding back. And I cut and I go to the mains and I cut it, and it's still feeding back. Oh my god! And I'm going, oh my god! And then all I see is from the side of the stage, I see this guy running, and it's the sound guy that was there previously. And finally, by the time he almost got to the stage, I saw the subgroups that were up, and I cut him down. Yeah. And I'm like, oh my god! And he's he's on the platform with me where the sound, where the picture's at, and he's laughing. He's like, dude, that was worth it just to see the look on your face.
This is just to see you
and I'm like,
suffering.
And I go, this is why I don't do live sound, man. And that was one of the horrible ones, you know.
And Cesar never did live sound again.
And I never did live sound again. That's what messed me up.
Just scarred you.
Yeah, I think that'd
be scary.
Yeah, it was
back in front of 4,000
you know, you got
people.
4,000 people that were dancing, and now they're all looking at you, you know, going like, oh man, so
you're the star now.
Yeah, so I think those are probably the horrible ones. I mean, like people yelling, like stuff like that. I've had it, but that doesn't bug me. I just know people are stressing out.
Yeah.
So, but stopping a show is a whole different story.
That's feedbacking in front of 4,000 people is versus feedback in front of you.
Yeah, that's one major feedback.
That's huge. That is huge. Let's see, and okay. Let's see, 3. And so Amanda Moe, 3 major tips that you could give to someone starting out. And then she said maybe it's too technical, but that's something else. Just let's start 3 major tips you could give to somebody.
I would say just be open to learning, even though you feel you might know it, because like, you know, sometimes, you know, so there's only so many ways to mic a snare. Mm-hmm. You know, to put an example, but you know, you don't know what that other person's hearing or their approach to doing it.
Yeah.
And that's what changes. I would say be open to like you know, and I get that. I'm not trying to like bash you guys, but I think I get a lot of times when you guys first come in, there's a lot of like, oh well, I kind of already know that, so like I just won't pay attention because I'm too cool. You know, and then,
I've done this before.
You know, I've done this before. Like what? So, but I you know, like, I mean, I still do that. You know, I've gone into sessions where I'm kind of filling in for somebody else, and I go, oh, how did they mic that? Oh, and I listen to it. Oh, that's cool, because it's different from the way I would do it, or even just EQ wise or whatever their approach. You know, so I would say be open to that.
Yeah.
You know, like never stop learning, because you don't. Like in this field, you're never gonna stop learning. And then the other one would be just be persistent. Don't stop. Be stubborn. Keep doing it. Okay. You know, those are the ones the 3 most important ones that I think would be one. You know.
That's good, man. Those are all good tips.
Yeah.
So hopefully Amanda Mo will take that to heart. So let's see. I did ask you about your. I asked you about your childhood, and I was curious. What was it like? What was it like growing up? What was Little Caesar doing growing up? What was that? What was that like? Because I know you got stories, man, and maybe even like teenager. What were you doing
in the mid-teens?
Teens or 20s.
So let's say in my mid-teens, I was learning how to play bass.
Okay.
Right, and that by the time I got to high school, I didn't want to join the school band because Mr. Martinez, although he was really cool, there was another teacher that wasn't cool. Mm-hmm. And you know, he would always kind of like try to put you down, but never like give you a positive kind of thing. Because my other teacher would get on us, but he would always tell us why we were doing something wrong.
So if you didn't do that wrong, then you could at least improve.
Yeah, at least could improve. You know, and the other one was just, and I think he also had like he was just kind of like. He was kind of weird. Like I don't want to bash him too hard because I was a kid and maybe I was an asshole, you know. So yeah. I mean, who knows?
Kids are assholes.
But yeah, so then when I got to middle school, like I was just like, oh, I don't want to be in the school jazz band, but I want to play like bands, and I was hanging out with a group of like you know, metal kids and punker kids, and I had long hair and you know, the Levi's jacket and the torn jeans and the Misfit shirt on, you know, and that type of deal. So I was going to gigs, you know, like back East Los was notorious back then for having a lot of backyard shows. I mean, they were everywhere. Like we went out every weekend to a show and saw bands. I mean, we saw Zach De La Rocha before he was in Rage Against the Machine.
Wow.
In a band called Downset. Yeah. And it was not too far from here. There was this place right here that they used to call it the Dust Bowl.
The Dust Bowl? That sounds familiar.
Because you would go there and then the people started moshing and all the dust would kick up. And all the kids, all the neighborhood kids that played in bands, we actually went there. We built a stage for that place, so it was cool. We got, you know, we did a lot of music every weekend. You know, like, you know, it was mainly punk music, some metal bands, you know, but a lot of it was punk music, and And, you know, we got to see a lot of these, like, straight edge bands from back in the day that were from Orange County that, you know, they would bus all these white kids into East LA, and I was like, man, they have no idea where they're at. They're, like, in a gang-infested area, but...
They're like, we just want to play music,
We just want to play music, and it was cool, and, you know, luckily for us, you know, like, the girl who threw that place, her name was Angie. It was called Angie's Dust Bowl. That's what we used to call it. We were really good friends with her. So she'd be like, all right, come in. And everybody else would have to pay $3 or something to get in, you know. But we were always there. And, I mean, we were there every weekend. Every weekend we were there. Like, it was a show every weekend. Damn. So we were dealing with live music all the time. And I never saw myself back then recording bands that way. It wasn't until a little, you know.
You're just having fun.
I was just having fun. I was just this kid in high school going, oh, cool, you know. And then it wasn't until I got to recording that by then I knew all those bands and things kind of started gradually happening, you know.
Yeah.
But I mean, in my teens, that's what I was doing. In my 20s, I began to record bands on a little 4-track, and it was like all like the leftover bands of those kids that were playing in other bands.
The people that stuck with it.
Yeah, that stuck with it.
You knew them. They're like, hey, Cesar.
Yeah, I heard. And it all happened from me recording my own band that I was in, and and that little demo came out and. You know, people heard it and they're like, "Oh, hey, we heard you did that. Can you record our bands? How much would you charge?" I'm like, "What?
How
much you gonna charge?" Like, "Oh, can you guys pay me $80?" Yeah, you know. And I was doing all those bands around here, so
yeah. Damn.
Yeah.
What's up?
Yeah, that's kind of my late teens and my early 20s were about that, you know, and you know, going on tour with this little band that I had, like doing little tours, like. Up and down the coast.
You're doing touring too?
Yeah, but they were like, you know, 3-4 days, things like that, you know. But they were fun. You know, we didn't have any money, but man, they were fun. Yeah. Getting into trouble we shouldn't be getting into. And
where were you guys touring? Getting into trouble?
Well, the one place I do remember, the one story was in San Francisco.
What was that like? What year? What are we talking?
This is
80s?
This is the 90s, like 94, 95.
So is grunge coming along or not?
Grunge had already been out, but I mean, like Nirvana had already come out.
Okay.
Nirvana had already come out. You know, Rage Against the Machine was already out.
Okay.
But I mean, we were playing in this band, and those guys were all they're now all my best friends. You know, all those guys, and we were out there just, you know, roughing it, like. You know, stealing food from people's houses, and you know, like going to these shows, and on an off day we'd be in San Francisco. You know, one of the guys in the band was, take us to a place where we can party. Yeah. You know, and they're like, man, come on, dude. And you know, it was some hype in the street, and you know, my friend wanted to beat him up, and we're trying to like stop him, and it was just
a mess.
It's just a mess. It's one of those, you know, it was one of those days where like,
just
oh man,
a mess of young,
energy,
young and testosterone. And,
you know,
just got too much time.
Yeah, too much time on our hands, and being with your friends, you know. So it was fun.
Dang, that sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
Let's see. So, is there anything you haven't done that you'd like to do in the area of music and engineering?
I don't know. I mean, I never feel that way. I never feel like, oh, I want to do this, you know, because I mean, you know, most of my work does come from like, you know, music production, but you know, I've done documentaries, I've done, you know, voiceovers, I've recorded like classical stuff, I recorded jazz stuff. I mean, I don't know if there's like, because to me it's kind of all the same, you know, like to me it's music.
It's a lot of the
music and sound, you know, like
production, post production, kind of.
To me, it's just all music and sound, or if it's just sound, then it's what it is. I mean, it's not like, you know. I mean, I don't know how to where to draw the line. Like, oh, this is this and this is that. Although I know that there's a difference there, but to me, it's all the same. You know, so I don't know as far as that. Maybe, you know, I don't know, owning 3 facilities, which would be insane. Yeah. You know, but I don't know if that's like a thing to me, like.
If that's the thing you necessarily
necessarily want to do.
If you didn't have to, like, sky's the limit, you could do whatever you want on a daily basis, what was there anything else you'd rather be doing, or you're just already doing it?
I would be doing this. You know, even if I won the lotto tomorrow, I would still teach music production.
Okay, so that's really where it's at.
Yeah, I mean, like, to me, it's like, because to me, like, being there with you guys is like, one, it's like, it's super satisfying. Yeah. Right? And then second of all, you guys teach me more than I think you guys get from me.
A lot of people would probably disagree, but
you know, but
I believe you.
You know, because you guys are always, hey, what's that? Oh, because there's just not enough time in the day to
explain all.
Or to learn all the stuff you guys are learning. Like, plus your mind has a lot more space than mine. Well, at least most of you guys, I think, has a lot more space than mine. So I'm learning from you guys just as much, I think, as if not more than, like I think I'm trying to teach you guys, So
I recently became a father. I got a little baby boy.
Congratulations, my friend. Yeah.
You got twins.
I got 3 kids. I got a 13-year-old and then 10-year-old twins.
So 13-year-old's the boy?
Yeah.
And then the twins are
boy girl.
Oh, boy girl. So
we have 2 sons and a daughter.
Okay, a son and a daughter, twins.
Yeah, uh-huh.
So how does that work? It's either paternal or identical?
Paternal is when they're
born at the same time.
When they're born at the same time and they're boy girl, right? And I think identical is when they're both the same sex. And then I think there's another one for when, because what happens is that paternal means that there's 2 separate bags in the 2 separate bags. So that means there was 2 eggs that got fertilized.
Oh,
right?
Snap. Okay.
The other one is where 1 egg splits.
Mm-hmm.
Those are identical twins. Those are always going to be the same sex.
Oh, damn.
Yeah. So in our situation, there was 2 eggs, and the swimmers got to them, and they're like, and they high-fived each other as they went for each egg.
what is because I'm a new parent. What is and you've told me some things. What is parenting? What is it like? What are the gems that it's given you, or different outlooks like that it's helped you in life? Like, do you?
I think it makes you more, if you're the what do we call it, the grunt, where you're just out there, doing all kinds of stuff, you become a sniper, like, or you gotta be like, I need to hit that target and make sure it works, because you become more focused.
Yeah.
You're more focused because, you
have to be.
You have to be, you kind of have to be, and you kind of like, you'll still be you, but it'll be like a more focused you, That's what I've noticed about being a father, that, because I'll be honest with you, I don't think I became a man until I became a father.
Really?
Yeah, I mean, that's when I was a man, but like, I was still like, oh yeah, whatever, hey,
whatever, bro.
Yeah,
I don't care.
Cool, I don't care. Whatever.
When you have a kid, you can't be like,
I got a mortgage. Yeah, I don't care. It's cool. I'll pay my mortgage, whatever. But then when I became a father, I was like, oh shit, this is some other level.
I could fuck this up. Let
me kind of focus and get my shit together.
Pay attention.
Yeah,
I really.
Yeah, I mean, plus, dude, like being a father is like, it's cool. It's hard. It's hard being a parent, man. Like that. That's what I mean. Like, I go to work and I'm like, oh yeah, this is easy, Like,
you don't know what to expect.
Because it changes all the time. It's like a constant like thing that's constantly changing all the time. It's
constantly growing.
It's constantly growing. It's constantly changing, and you gotta learn how to improvise fast, dude.
On your feet.
On your feet, like that, So it happens all the time, and just when you think everything's steady, boom, it changes without you even. It doesn't tell you. It just changes. Yeah,
we figured we had like the swaddle down where you wrap up the baby. We started using like some of the little baba, so that we got him with that. And then, and I thought like, oh, I got like a little hold I got him that calms him down. But then like, all of a sudden...
None of that works?
Well, it works, but he's just been kind of fussy the past couple days. And like, he's like, all of a sudden, he's like, he doesn't like this titty.
Yeah,
and he's fighting and he's like, oh, I don't know.
Yeah, it's just because they're learning, dude. I mean, like, they're learning, dude, and then especially babies, man, they're learning at the rate of learning. It's like,
from the birth to like 2, it's like supposed to be like crazy.
Yeah, it's a lot of information being put in their head, and they're learning how to survive. Yeah, it's all those survival skills, dude, that we take for granted. We're just like, we just get up and walk. Yeah, we gotta go to the bathroom. Our brain tells our body, hey, go. Mm-hmm. So I mean, like, we gotta eat. Same thing, right? We breathe. Like, he's learning. Those are super automatic, but still, his body's still responding to all of those, and then once all those things, next thing you know, dude, your kids will be in school, man, and you're gonna be like, and your wife's gonna go, oh, I wish they were babies again. And to me, because I know how hard it was with the twins, I always tell my wife, hell no, man, that was hard. I'd rather deal with their shit right now. At least they can tell me what's wrong. I can tell them what's wrong.
Yeah, you're just
hey, you need to go to your room because you're being an asshole,
Yeah. But when they're little, they're
screaming.
Don't know.
They're just screaming.
Change it. Yeah. Do you need this? Do you need that? Are you hungry?
That's like, man, that's hard. That's like,
you got to be on that mind reader shit.
Yeah, that's. those parts to me were the hardest, I think. Like, but dude, they'll be gone before you know it, man. Like, you know, when I go into my head, and I think of my kids, I could still picture them the day they were born, dude. Like it was like yesterday, and the twins are 10, and my oldest 13.
Oh, jeez, what are they into?
They're into music. I mean, obviously, because I'm always like,
yeah,
you know, like before. So my job until the last 2 years in the morning was every day take them to school, and I play music for them, you know, and I would play like a cover. The band would be playing a cover. Like, oh, you guys want to hear the original? And they would then like, oh, and then they got into like Back to the Future, and they were Johnny B. Good, yeah,
oh,
right, and I go, and they would hear the song from the movie, which is the Johnny B. Good on the movie is from Huey Lewis and the News, this band that was big in the 80s.
Yeah.
But the original, I go, you want to hear the original? And I would play it for them. So it was a lot of like music type things. So they're into music. My daughter loves to draw.
Yeah.
She loves to draw. And then my oldest, you know, they're, you know, like, the middle one's a metalhead, dude. The boy twin.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, he's into it hard. Like, you know, he...
What's he listen to? What kind of metal does he listen to?
I mean, anything. They go, hey, Dad, play some Pantera.
What?
Oh, Dad, you know, like he likes, like, he doesn't know the newer Metallica stuff. He only knows from, like, And Justice for All and before. So all that older Metallica stuff, like,
cool.
You know, like, he likes the Beastie Boys, he likes Black Sabbath.
Nice.
You know, things like that. So, and the oldest one is, I don't know what I mean, I know he's into music and he likes, like, heavy stuff too, but I think he plays, but they all play in the school orchestra.
No,
so
yeah.
my oldest plays bass clarinet, you know. My daughter plays flute, and my other son plays clarinet. So, but you know, they're into video games. You know, like I don't get those.
Yeah, all the kids are in pretty much.
Fortnite is their shit.
Yeah,
and they sit there and they talk with their friends. I was like, man, you guys are nerds.
Yeah,
you know?
I used to watch my brother play video games. And I mostly do that, and then if there's a 2-player game, or he let me play, or he was gone.
Yeah.
So like I like them okay sometimes, but unless a game looks really attractive, I'll go buy the whole system.
And I get I was a big video game buff when growing up. I mean, but this is, you know, before PlayStation. I mean, I was like the Nintendo NES or before that, you know, Atari 2600. You know, those were my games from back then. I mean, it wasn't like anything how it is now. So.
I think I'll do one more question.
Cool.
One more question for you. What role do you think, like drugs and like all that partying, like maybe let's just say what role do you think drugs plays in like rock and roll and music and creativity? Does it help it? Does it hurt it? Is it necessary? Because you know, there's plenty of stories where they, you know. There's great albums that have been created like while people were under the influence, or maybe they were able to stay up hours, you know, because they were high on something and they worked and they worked and it worked. Like,
I think it just depends on what your role is in the creation of that record or that project, right? I mean, I think if you're on the technical side. I'll be honest.
Not a good idea.
I'm going to tell you from personal experience, it's probably not a good thing to do it. And I wouldn't say probably. I would say, don't do it.
Don't do it.
If you want to, if there's something that you want to take from me, is don't do it, because I've been there and I've erased people's shit. You know, or you think you're doing a great job and you're not.
I'm killing it, man.
Right? Or worse, you're trying to get a headphone cue to the artist and you're on the wrong channel. You know, like those things, because your brain is too slow. It can't react the same way. And it's like saying, like, you know, I want to go on a cruise and I want to have the time of my life.
Yeah.
Let's make sure that the captain's as high as us. Right? Like the guy who's driving the ship, let's make sure he's on drugs too. Like, that would probably not be a good idea, because you'll get lost at sea probably somewhere, you know? Now, I'm not going to say that I would say I don't know, 100 times I did that, right? Because there was a time in my life when I was, you know, I was smoking a lot of weed. I'll be honest with that, you know. But out of the many times that I did it, I'm just throwing a number. I said 100. I don't know how many times I did it. Only once I can remember something kind of cool coming out of it. The rest of it, I get up in the morning and listen to it. I was like, oh, man, what the fuck were we thinking?
Yeah.
Now, on the artist side, maybe that's okay if they feel like they need to do that. But, you know, but the only thing I say is, like, what happens when you don't have that? If you're dependent on that? Like, can you play without it? You know, so I always like, I knew musicians who like, they have to get super stoned to be able to play, and I'm like, oh, that's cool. Hey, that's your thing. I never ever tell them, no, don't do it, you know?
Yeah.
I mean, unless they're doing heroin or something like that, I'd be like, hey, man, you can't be doing that shit in front of us. Like, you know, like...
Get out of here, you junkie!
I'll be like, hey, man, that's kind of nasty.
Yeah.
Get the fuck out of here, you know? Like, go do it in your car.
Yeah, like a respectable human being.
You know,
and then come in here.
Yeah, then come in here and then you all high on heroin. You know? We don't want to see you do heroin. We just want to hear you play like you're on heroin, you know? But,
yeah.
But, I mean, whatever. I mean, like, I would say... If you're on the technical side, don't do it. If you're on the musician side, then that's fine. If the musician wants you to be high with them, I always tell them, like, you know what, man? You know what? If you want me to fuck up your record, then I'll get high with you. But if not, then, you know.
Oh, I don't want you to fuck up my record.
Yeah.
Wait a second.
Yeah,
you put it like that.
Yeah, exactly. So like that's my thing. I mean, like I'm not a big proponent of that. You know, I mean, like even drinking, it's like. You know, I mean, like, I just say if you're kind of, like, focused on it, then at the end of the session, then maybe you can have a beer with them or whatever. You want to smoke with them, that's fine, you know, but I'm not big on that because I've messed it up one too many times.
Yeah, I've had my fair share of...
Yeah,
make myself look like an asshole, so... I think that's it, man.
Cool.
Thanks for coming on the show.
Man, thank you for coming over, man. I know I didn't made you drive out here, but...
No, it's okay. I haven't been to East Los. I looked at the map there. I was like, oh, East Los Angeles.
Yeah,
all right.
You're in Boyle Heights, East Los right here. You're the division between Boyle Heights and East Los Angeles. Yeah. The same place, dude.
Yeah.
It's just, you know, we just
call it... gentrified,
yeah,
kind of. All the little...
Yeah. It's still the center
it's
still the center of the universe for us that been living here for a long time. I don't live in this area anymore, but I grew up here, you know.
Yeah.
But it's great around here. I love this place.
Yeah. Well, thanks for inviting me.
Oh man, I'm honored to be on your podcast, my friend.
Yay! Cesar said it's an honor to be on the podcast.
Yeah.
This is episode 21.
21.
Episode 21. Black Aaron broadcast. And I gotta remember to say my thing. Stay blessed, don't stress, stay tuned. Black Aaron broadcast every week, Thursday, usually at 10 a.m. Alright, later guys.
Peace.
Bye! So, that's it.
Cool.
Yeah, and let's check out that sound. Hey, Black Aaron broadcast, episode 21. Yeah, that's not bad. Guest here. And I can strip.
You know, we had long hair back then and torn jeans and a Misfit shirt on.
Dress for the career.
Yeah. And I was like, oh, that's... And does this go like you put the video up too?
Yeah, and I'll put an animation of like Black Aaron broadcast on the
That's cool, dude. And that's what on your website?
I have I do it on YouTube. I'm working on a website,
cool.
but I haven't really.
Oh shit! I only listen to your podcast on the. I use this.
Because I have the Spotify,
Yeah, I use this guy.
Overcast or something. Or?
This is like the podcast, the Apple podcast thing.
Yeah.
So yours is one of the ones. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Yay! Awesome. Who else you listening to in there?
The Working Class Audio one. That's a good one.
So that's like people in that. Sherry Klein. That's the woman with the silver hair.
Yeah. These I kind of listen to every once in a while. This one, what's the name turned me on to? Josh. And this one I listen to some whiskey thing. I really listen to that one.
You like whiskey?
Yeah. It's mainly these two. I mainly this guy, yours. These three are the ones I'm always listening to. These top three. Which
Why
yours
does
is
it say
one of.
There's only 13 episodes.
Oh, maybe it hasn't. No, it says 19. Oh, I don't know. Maybe I just need to.
Oh.
I need to. What do you call it? Update, like
maybe
refresh it
or something.
No, I just think it just needs to refresh it.
That is the latest episode, though.
Yeah. Who's that?
Oh, that's me and my dog.
No, who's so?
Oh, Alex. Alex.
Silver Fisher?
Silver Fisher. He's this guy. He does multi-level marketing, like professional.
Oh, wow, that's cool, dude. Yeah, and I know that's Alex's band, right?
Yeah.
That's him singing, right?
Yeah, he sings on that, but that's the pop punk version that Taylor did. He mixed it to bring it pop punk.
Oh, that's cool.
I mean, there's so many people that
Taylor's fucking bad, dude.
Yeah. Oh, I forgot to stop this thing. So.
Yeah, Taylor's good, man. I like him.
Yeah.
It's the Black Aaron broadcast. It's the Black Aaron